based totally on actual life occasions the movie. Starts off evolved in 1986 at a gun expo in Toledo, Ohio. A teen Rick Wersch Jr. is asking over some AK-47 computerized firearms for sale and negotiating a charge with the supplier. He notes that the pistol has functions which are ordinary with Egyptian-made AK-47s rather than the Russian-made ones the dealer claims to be promoting. He then calls his father, Richard Wersch Sr., to verify his suspicions and the two blackmail supplier into giving them a sizable discount in alternate for no longer ratting him out and losing his license. They then return to their domestic in Detroit, Michigan. Richard is describing how they are each lions in a sheep's world. Right here we examine that Richard is a small-time gun dealer who aspires to at some point perform a video condominium organization. Rick, his 15 to 12 months vintage son, seems to go together with the waft. Once they get domestic, they notice another car in their driveway. The father-son duo soon acknowledges is the car exiting the car. Richard pulls out one of the AK-47s and breaks into the residence wherein his daughter Dawn is having an affair with her boyfriend Ty. Enraged, Richard kicks Ty out of the residence. After this, he and Dawn get right into a heated argument, whilst the grandparents who live directly across the street arrive exactly in time to witness the whole issue. Later that nighttime, Richard is running with the AK-47 silencers and lecturing Rick on the idea of upselling. It is revealed that he buys reasonably priced weapons from the marketplace, updates them with silencers, and then sells them to the clients. Rick then uses his newfound facts to promote the AK-47s to some neighborhood gang participants. He knows he makes a whole lot of money through upselling the silencers and profits the respect of the crowd's boss Johnny Curry. As the days skip, Rick will become top buddies with Curry's more youthful brother Buo and starts placing out with them. They pass out to events at a close-by curler skating rink where the crowd and corrupt police officers attend one early morning. Dawn wakes Rick up and informs him that she's leaving. He effectively predicts that she will be able to live with Ty and tries to convince her to stay. However, she remains resolute in her selection. Before leaving, she offers him her telephone wide variety, ordering him now not to share it with their father. Richard alternatively observes her leaving and glances out the window as she and Ty pressure away. Later on, he's careworn by means of the FBI for the reason that his firearms are ending up inside the arms of neighborhood gang members. Within the interim, Rick maintains to sell firearms and begins to get near to Curry Butte and the relaxation of the local gang members in Detroit. In the future, FBI retailers Alex and Frank Technique Rick, revealing that they're aware about his involvement in procuring unregistered firearms and illegal silencers. They then threaten to apprehend him when asked approximately some gang participants. Rick stays silent, best revealing that they're no longer alive. Later that day, Rick spends time together with his buddies as they pick tuxedos for Curry's upcoming wedding ceremony to Kathy, the mayor's niece. On the marriage day, he meets artwork Derek, a Miami drug lord. Later, Rick and his gang pals Nug Bew, Freaky Steve and Ed are going home for the wedding. Once they come across a couple in their school's females, considered one of them Brenda Moore is his college overwhelmed, so Rick calls out to her to invite if she desires to be a part of them. She gladly accepts his provide. He then receives intimate with Brenda even as the other women accompany them to a Forsen film theater. Some days later, as Rick is heading home after a night out, he spots a stuffed duck on the roadside and makes a decision to take it as a present for his sister. However, his plans take an unexpected flip when an automobile Approaches revealing the FBI sellers and a narcotics police officer from his previous come across. They tell him that the silenced AK-47s he furnished to the local gang members have been used as in a homicide, and except Rick cooperates, they ought to implicate his father. Confronted with this risk, Rick reluctantly concurs to assist. His cooperation involves making drug purchases to accumulate proof towards the group. This means Rick essentially has to work as a police informant so that it will keep his father from going to prison. The process is that the youngster will to start with accumulate crack cocaine from a neighborhood supplier. This system repeats several instances until the retailers finally provide him with an enormous quantity of cocaine, teaching him to sell it to higher, combined with the gang's crowd without arousing suspicion. In return, they guarantee him he can keep the profits. Rick efficaciously sells the cocaine, making $4,000 in the matter. At some point, Richard notices Rick passing by means of an automobile with the FBI sellers. He additionally discovers a number of Rick's hidden bucks at home. After putting the maths collectively, he confronts his teenage son to live far away from the cocaine commercial enterprise as well as the FBI retailers. The two get right into a heated argument until Rick takes off in his grandfather's antique automobile. He then meets his sister Dawn at a restaurant. At the same time as they're catching up on lifestyles, a thief steals Rick's automobile, which become parked inside the driveway. The brother-sister duo right now springs into movement and goes after the thief without considering the effects. The pair opens fire and chases after the car, but they fail to catch the wrongdoer. Just then police officers arrive at the scene and arrest Rick and Dawn for commencing fire. Fortunately, the FBI agents that Rick had been handling arrive on the station and unfastened the pair. When Curry hears of this information, he will become suspicious of Rick being launched by using the police so soon. However, he feels that perhaps the police officials had been racist in order that they permit go of the white boy. Curry then confronts the teenager, urging him to be greater transparent and prematurely about his sports. Over the following couple of months, Rick completely immerses himself in the gang's lifestyle, taking part in the perks that come with it. At some point of this time, considered one of Curry's borrowers, Leon visits the group's boss's vicinity to pay his monthly hobby. Leon tells Curry that he will sponsor him and his men on a ride to Las Vegas, and additionally guarantees front row tickets for a excessive profile boxing named Fight. But upon arriving on the fight in Las Vegas, Curry and his participants, together with Rick, face sadness as Leon does not satisfy his promise, giving the coveted tickets to every other rival gang leader. Once they find out about this, frustration simmers amongst Curry and his team at an aftermath party. The rival gang chief, now flaunting his triumph, announce Curry for not being able to get the tickets. In shape of rage, the local gang boss retaliates by fatally beating the rival gang leader with a champagne bottle. Returning to their sick, fated Vegas journey, Curry, seething with anger over Lyon's betrayal, dispatches two of his guys to take away him at his house. Unluckily, Lyon had left simply before the hitman's arrival, and in their try and retaliate by means of establishing fire on his house, they by accident shoot and kill, considered one of Leon's younger sons. The incident sparks a media outcry, prompting regulation enforcement to song down absolutely everyone in possession of AK-47s stuck inside the tightening net of police scrutiny. The gang, together with Rick and even Richard, start doing away with their weapons. Curry then gathers the gang, emphasizing the need for excessive caution and vowing to take any measures essential to stay away from jail again at domestic. Richard, blind to the impending hazard, shares an abnormal element with Rick. He acquired a goldfish as a present from a customer hours later as Rick contemplates the fish. Nug, a chum and fellow gang member, all at once arrives. First of all, the scenario seems everyday as Nug chats in a casual manner but simply, while Rick turns round to fetch a soda for his buddy. He is all at once shot in the belly and Nug flees the scene. Fortuitously, Rick survives the attack. He undergoes a prolonged surgical treatment and regularly makes progress for his protection. He's registered below a faux call on the clinic. The FBI sellers, recognizing Rick's help of their pursuit of Curry and his crew, inform him that their joint efforts have resulted within the dismantling of Curry Criminal Company. The excessive non-public fee of this journey leaves Rick with bodily scars. However, it additionally marks the stop of his risky affiliation with the crowd and the beginning of a brand new bankruptcy in his existence. One night, Rick and Richard interact in discussions, approximately opening a video keep while driving domestic, but their communique takes a darkish flip while Rick, expressing doubt approximately their ability to exchange their lives, shows a go back to dealing cocaine. The heated argument almost leads to a vehicle crash, but each emerge unscathed. Rick, who's desperate for a risk at a higher existence, pleads together with his father to allow him to resume dealing cocaine. Richard is skeptical about this, but whilst his son keeps insisting, he eventually agrees rapidly. Later on, the two embark on a project to rescue Sunrise from a house packed with drug users. They find her asleep in one of the rooms, and notwithstanding her resistance, they convey her home. They then lock her in her room to detox. Over the route of the following few days, she manages to make a complete restoration as Rick accumulates wealth from selling cocaine. He manages to fulfill his father's dream, and Richard successfully opens a video keep. The turning point in Rick's lifestyles comes when he solutions a knock on Th.